This is Snakes and Otters, a pointless discussion of eternal questions. Get ready. We're about to live in your head rent-free.
Hello, Otterites. We are at episode 250.
I am Martin.
And I'm Robert.
I'm Francis.
I'm Andre.
I'm Marcus.
And I'm Cajun.
And I'm Max.
Yes, you heard a seventh voice there, folks. That is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North. He is our
General
guest.
of the Felix Legions.
Yeah, that's right. And loyal servant, we could keep going on.
Loyal servant to the true emperor, who's sitting here with us.
Sitting here with us.
Sitting here with us,
Marcus
yes.
Aurelius, that's right.
Max, that means you have to take orders from
the emperor
from
over
the
here. Of course,
imperator.
in fairness, we all
Dad?
take orders from the emperor. We welcome Max,
Actually,
who
the
is,
empress, actually.
who is
Truth
from
or Dare now?
the hinterlands of the north, who is joining us here as we record this weekend. So welcome, Max. We hope we
Yes,
make you-
commander of the armies of the North.
That's right. Absolutely. Serendipity, folks.
That
It
is.
always works. That's
Not
right.
only do we have a guest, but I think this is the first time in a while that the entire Brotherhood has
Yes,
been
the
together.
entire
Yes.
Brotherhood is here in
Plus
one room.
That's right. Hail, hail. The Brotherhood
and-
is here.
Yes, I've been off on wild adventures here the last few months.
But it's also episode 250.
That's right, a
For
special-
the podcast.
A special seminal episode.
This is right.
That's-
And we are running 7 hot mics.
Yes, and thanks to
To 7 hot men.
Yes.
thanks to the Imperator's marvelous knowledge and Robert's assistance over here. Believe it or not, it took quite a bit to get this all set up.
Well, this is very unique. We've not done this particular version of our setup.
No, we haven't.
But hey, as we all know, as our listeners well know, we are capable of anything.
This is true.
We are the Brotherhood.
Well,
That's
having,
right.
having a couple of task cams helps.
Yeah, that's correct.
It does.
We've come a long way, Martin
really
and Robert, from where we started.
From one bike in the middle of the room.
That's right. Yeah, we've come a long way, baby. In that we've come into our own, and this is 250 episodes. So it's kind of like a brief moment that we will. I'm sure we'll have some remembrances and things like that of what we've done. And I know we're going to talk a little bit during the bourbon break about a few moments that we're going to recognize, but it's really going to be an extra, it's just a regular episode that we're going to talk about here. And this is something that we've kind of bounced around a whole lot. I don't remember. Martin is the one I think that came up with this one here.
No, I believe you did.
Maybe I did see
that's
the
why we
show.
appointed you captain.
That's
but
right.
The
Certainly
smacks
I was-
of Francis.
I was
Thank
on
you.
board. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause this is the wheel. When you define Snakes on Earth's wheelhouse, this episode is pictured in the dictionary.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the reasons
So
it
to
makes
speak.
a great.
Sorry, if we're not discussing philosophy, we're discussing World War I. It's basically it.
Well, in many respects, this is
Or directors Robert's never freaking heard of.
Exactly,
right.
exactly.
And Star
We
Trek.
also do
That's
sex.
right. That's right. Star
Or
Trek.
Star
No, we
Wars.
won't.
That's all right.
All right.
But we're gonna and see. Notice how we've teased you, listeners, because we haven't told you what this is yet. We're going to talk about the Age of Enlightenment, also known as the Age of Reason. That epoch. And there's a good word, Robert. You're not paying attention. That was a
Yeah,
Word
give him,
boner.
thank you.
give him the button.
Yeah, that's, I like to think.
Honestly, I don't know if that was really super worthy of it, but I'll give it to you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. That era of time, and we'll define that here in just a second, that changed everything in many respects. We've gone from what would be known as medievalism. I know we don't use the word Dark Ages. Robert absolutely detests that term. We've kind of come to the understanding that if you were to use that term, it would be way at the beginning of that period.
Yes.
And certainly not towards the end, because as we all know, just as Rome's fall was a process, the basically the coming back towards the light is also a process. But there are some moments in history, and let's face it, we are the successors of that movement. So much of how we look at the world today comes from what was done during that time. The understanding of scientificism is part of it, but it's not just that. It's also a philosophy. It has both good, it has both bad. We're going to talk about a little bit of all that. I'll bow to the Brotherhood if you want to say something before I jump in and kind of define the era we're talking about.
Well, it's just there's an overlap with the scientific revolution.
Correct. Yes, we'll talk about
that started before it.
It does. That's correct. Sorry. And there's Isaac Newton is certainly a major figure in that, but he also is a part of this, as we're talking about as well. Any other comments before I slip into this?
It is sort of the rebirth of Western civilization.
Absolutely.
Coming out of the era of
darkness. Go ahead and call it this.
Don't. See, the only reason I don't like the darkness
Yes.
is that the High Middle Ages, at the right before the Renaissance,
Yeah.
it is not dark.
By no means,
No,
exactly.
no, they're
That's
starting
right.
to
I mean,
rediscover.
Really,
that.
the people give that 1,000 years for the so-called Dark Ages, but really more than 500 years, more than half of it is not.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
was
mean,
it was a great. I mean, it was the Renaissance before the Renaissance. There was
Exactly.
technology.
Byzantium is still there. Venice is a republic. I mean, there's a lot of
Right.
stuff going on.
The church has founded multiple universities to
Yeah,
maintain and
learning is
enhance.
very much a part. Now, it's not for the common person, but then again, it's not during the age of the Enlightenment either. That was
Not much has
later.
changed.
But that was
Well,
but that was the point of the
Pun
Age of
intended.
Enlightenment too.
Yeah,
is the part that I found fascinating about it is it's the beginning of secularism.
Yes.
It is the beginning of the idea that the church doesn't have to run every aspect of life.
Right, and we've gone downhill ever since.
You guys have waded right into that. I knew that we'd have a little bit of that, and that is you're exactly right. Of course, Martin, as you always are. And I'll tell your wife that as often as possible. So I know you don't hear it much. None of us do, but hey, there you go. But what we're talking about here with the Age of Enlightenment, I mean, the Wikipedia article actually, and it's pretty daggone good. It really is. It goes very much in depth about what we're talking about, the era that we're talking about here. I'm going to take a stand, essentially, because if you read through that article, it talks about, well, some people say it's this, some people say it's this, some people say it's this. I like to use, for the beginning of that, is Rene Descartes with his he was Cartesian coordinates come from him. He was a mathematician, but he was
Not
also a
going to go with
philosopher.
Bacon, huh?
Did he put
No,
the horse
I-
before the cart?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, I'm not going to go with. Some would say Francis Bacon.
it was a
I get
drunken
that.
fart.
That's a little earlier. But no, I'm going to put Descartes down as a stake in the ground and as a demarcation line here, because philosophically he is that perfect change. We haven't done a Descartes episode. This kind of is a Descartes episode in many ways.
He's kind of the first of the modern philosophers.
Correct. I mean, when I took modern philosophy, that's where we started. I mean, it was with Descartes.
Well,
Yeah.
you've got, it's cogito ergo sum.
Cogito
think,
ergo
therefore I
sum.
am.
I think, there I am, therefore I am.
Yes.
Not to be mistakenly put with coito ergo sum, which has a very nasty sexual overtone to that.
Amen.
Just remove the G and then it's something
Do
totally
we need
different.
to hold that thought with you instead of?
No. I'm
yours
just teasing. I'm just
Okay.
kind of mentioning
Well,
there. It's one of those things.
and then that evolved to
I like,
coitus.
All of the autorates are
Well,
gonna
that's
look
where- that's
up
where the
Latin.
word comes
Where
from. It's from the
coitus
Latin,
comes from,
folks.
Yes.
I like cogito ergo sumo. I think, therefore I wrestle.
That's right. See, we know that. I mean, it's part of our understanding in our lexicon. Descartes was the first person to imply, I have the ability to think and understand, and I don't need to be told what to know. I have the
I
ability.
disagree.
Go ahead. Roll.
Thomas Aquinas would have said the same thing. You can know God
Yeah,
entirely through reason. That is exactly the same thing.
that's right. And yet, for whatever reason,
My man Tommy gets short shrift. I'm
I
telling
was
you.
going to say, because possibly because he was on the inside. And he
Yes,
flirted,
yes,
that has something
yes.
to do with it.
The
But you-
truth in a
well,
different
and-
language is still the truth.
That's
Exactly.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and also because he had it's like Bush the Elder. Holding his war was too far away from the election.
Yeah.
Aquinas was born 300 years before the start of the Renaissance. So he doesn't. That great thinker does not get
I'm
included.
so glad you said that, because that implies, and it's a truth that we don't talk about, you've heard the phrase, when the pupil is ready, the master will appear. And that's essentially, society was not ready for these ideas in the way that they became ready when Descartes appeared. For whatever reason, the pump was primed, the world was ready.
What years did Descartes live?
1637 is the demarcation line, is when he wrote the book, and that's
Okay,
kind of where we're
right in the middle of the 100 Years' War or the 30 Years' War.
That's exactly right. So
Yeah.
religion
So
was on
this
people's
is-
mind as a problem.
Well, also to give context, he is 100 years after the start of the Protestant rebellion. So
correct.
that's part of what makes
Right.
makes it right, because there's already a lot of rebelling against the idea that the church
Yeah,
should
again,
be in charge.
the rebellion, the change, the whatever it is, timing is everything.
Yes.
Very good, Martin. You
And
just always go right to the heart of
When
it.
you combine, the Reformation with the printing press, you get a society that's now ready to not necessarily view the town priest or the city archbishop as the only authority in life.
Well, it is a change. It is a move away from dogma. And I know dogma gets a bad rap in many respects because since we are on this 400 years on this side of Descartes, we recognize what dogma is problematic because somebody had to simply pronounce this. And that's a gross oversimplification, and it's kind of gotten a bad rap. But if you think back context...
Dogma is not arbitrary. That's the thing people don't understand.
Well, but it can be, depending. I'm not talking about religious dogma. I'm talking about
religious dogma. But that's what people. That's where people start.
That's right. Exactly.
Oh, yeah,
right.
yeah.
Because the term dogmatic simply means I say it is so, therefore it must be so.
And that was the life of the average person up until this era. They're not getting the why. They're just getting a pronouncement from the town priest.
But you know what? I don't think that really changes that much yet. Because still, most people are not literate.
That's right.
So, and this again, as you know, one of the problems I had with Voltaire, was that basically, all of that Age of Enlightenment stuff, it's good for the right people, but the peasants still need to know their place, and that's where a lot of this, I think, still is a problem. Is that all we have done is exchanged one set of aristocracy, whether it be religious, or noble, or educated, for a different set.
And that you're exactly
and it is for the common man. All it means is they get caught up in the 100 Years' War, the 30 Years' War, and every other war in between.
You're exactly correct. I mean, human nature itself does not change. The need and the will for those with the ability to dominate. I mean, it's very Darwinian. That never goes away. It just changes shape in many ways. But the eternal optimist that I am, there's got to be something positive about this because, and I think, Martin, you nailed it exactly right. The printing press had a huge event here because, in 1520s, 1530s, when it just started, only only the aristocracy could read. But it was the beginning. By the time you get to Thomas Paine, then everybody can read, and then it changes everything. Andre, you had something you wanted to say.
Going on to a positive thing that you were mentioning, coming from this, the Keystone quote was mentioned, I think therefore I am, was the beginning of our ability not to be taught what you need to know, but to be able to start the rational process of critical thinking, which leads us to current day education done correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. If it is done, and again,
are you sure about that? Current day education and critical.
Did you
yeah, that's what he. That's
still not entirely sure it is. But all right.
He is still pronouncing out there that
I will tell you that our educational system is still full of you need to know this.
Oh yes.
Instead of here's what I want you to learn.
The concept of dogmatic learning is never going to go away because of the enormous diversity of abilities and desires and all that sort of stuff. People are still human. Maximus.
I thought about that. Our education system is still based on 1930s Prussian doctrine of rote memorization.
Absolutely.
And it has not changed for the most part.
It has tried in certain areas.
Homeschooling these days for
that
reason among others.
It's based in pedagogy as opposed to andragogy.
Oh my goodness, give him a
Word boner.
He deserves a double shot. Yeah.
So
double shot.
I mean,
double boner.
When you try, it's not like it was in the schoolhouse, the one-room schoolhouse where it was individualized education based on the needs of the individual student and students helping and what have you, and it went to you're going to learn what we say you have to learn, and you have to.
It was designed to produce good factory workers.
Exactly.
Obedient
factory workers.
Well, the assembly line of education is absolutely still a real thing. Just to go back to what you're saying here, Andre, it's exactly that.
And the influence of that assembly line is still going on. I mean, the Ford Foundation still funds a lot of stuff, and all the stuff's based in Ford's racism. Perfect example is the square dancing that's taught. The only reason that's taught in schools is because Ford did not want jazz and the African American culture to go spread across the U.S. So he introduced, of all things, square dancing.
Okay, Karen, back up. You cannot say that you cannot say that square dancing is racist.
No, I didn't say square dancing is racist.
but
the reason it's taught,
Ford
was a
because
Puritan.
Ford was a racist.
He was a
Very much so.
Puritan who
Yes.
hired people to spy on the workforce.
Yes.
And like fire people who engaged in behavior he wasn't happy about.
No, he's not a nice person. Very
I'll
much
tell
an
you
autocrat.
I'll tell you how much of a racist and bigot he was. Okay, he is
How much was he?
He was the only person to get a shout out in Mein Kampf.
Yeah, he was pro-Nazi.
He funded them. I mean, he was pro-Nazi. He was the man was just a horrible human being.
Yeah.
So is it something about car manufacturers that makes them racist?
Possibly.
Well, I don't know. There were a lot of German ones.
I saw
that
where you went with
helped
that,
out.
but I'm reining us back in, gentlemen. Reining us
I
back
mean,
in. We have a tendency to go far afield, and I know
can.
that's right. But I do want to kind of get back because a lot of that are results much later. These are the seeds that were planted at the time, the 1600s. There are some people that date the beginning of this at the death of Louis XIV in 1715. I think that's way too late. Yeah. But they all sort of kind of agree that the French Revolution is kind of the end.
And here are the snakes and otters coming back with the French Revolution.
Well, yeah, which reminds me, I do need to give a shout out with regards to and I think I mentioned this to you folks, we have been named as one of the top 20 American Revolution podcasts on the web by Vanette, the founder of Million Podcasts. We wanted to give a great shout out to that. It's a great honor.
Yes.
I've been to the website. I've been in communication with him. I'll be posting something on our blog, www.snakesandotters.com. Guys, I have to give us all a little bit of a finger wag. We have not been very prolific there lately.
This one?
Yeah,
not that finger.
Which one?
Not that finger.
Not that finger. No, that's right.
We have not. We
have because we were really good there for a while.
My missus would disagree on the proclivities.
Yes.
What was that?
I said my missus would disagree with him on my proclivities.
That was the last part I didn't quite catch.
Okay.
So we're talking. We really need to get back to doing that. But we are very grateful to be honored and recognized by our peers in the podcast universe. I mean, 250 episodes, guys, and well over 11,000 downloads last time that Robert checked. So obviously, we got some folks out there listening. We love you, folks. We love you.
And we've got pictures and videos of the setup we've got going on here today.
That's right. So that for sure is going to get posted online.
Oh, yeah.
So
just make sure we pixelate Martin's face.
No, I didn't get anybody's face.
Good.
It was all from
just our pasty white legs.
Yeah, it was all from the crotch down.
Ooh, I hope you use the wide screen.
That'll be impressive.
Wide lens.
How imperator of you, Imperator.
Did you get my Reagan Library jacket in the picture?
Not.
That's true. Martin has.
That is very nice.
Martin has taken a trip to California and come back with some Reagan goodies. I'm sure that we will be hearing more and more about that as we move forward.
I would definitely.
Yes, I hear they ushered him out of the state very quickly with prominent force from behind.
That's true.
They found out that a libertarian was in California.
Well, news of all the rioting stopped right after Martin arrived in the state. I don't think that's a coincidence.
Well, and on the way back, you got stopped by TSA for having a large sex toy.
That is not correct.
It was a
That's not correct on both sides.
It
both
was a
Hey,
bust
Lord,
of
yeah.
Reagan. That's right. That he did
and it was Mrs. Martin that had it.
Oh, this is true.
Yeah,
The bust, not the sex toy.
Yes. So I do have some goodies from the Reagan Library, and would love to discuss the Reagan Library with the fellas.
I'm sure
we can do that on Bourbon Break.
And we can do a little bit of that there. But I do want to kind of circle us back a little bit to what we're doing here because, in many respects,
Look at Francis keeping us on task and shit.
well, after 250 episodes, you think we'd learned a few things.
Where there's a whip.
No, you wouldn't.
There is a way.
You got that right. We're going to whip this thing back in here, boys.
Rasp and animated.
That's right. But I do want to talk a little bit about the fact that this was the perfect storm of history in many ways.
Yeah.
It wasn't just Descartes. That's kind of almost just where we start on that. But you have Sir Isaac Newton during all this time. You have David Hume during this time, whom we've done episodes on. You have John Locke, absolutely, as part of that. We've done a Locke episode.
Yes.
Hobbes, the wonderful man that we all love.
That's right.
Immanuel Kant.
Yeah, and exactly. Thank you. Spoken by the German over here. Of course, Immanuel Kant, in fact, is seen by most folks as the end, the last of this moment.
That makes sense.
He killed it.
Well, I think I've told you guys before when we did Kant
All good things come to
that
an end.
my philosophy professor began our discussion of him. He says history would have been a lot better place had Immanuel Kant been stillborn. Which, yeah. Wow. Mr. Gilring, may he rest in peace.
That's
He was
rather harsh.
You can say that for a lot of
he was an amazing professor. I miss him terribly. I had him for two classes, and he knew so much. He didn't need notes. He just got up and talked.
Male version of Maggie Mahoney.
Absolutely, he is very much so. And it was basically because we had books we were supposed to read for it, but the very first class, he says, "Let me begin by departing from the text," and of course we never went back. But that's one of the things that stuck with me on that, because obviously he was very opinionated about Kant, but he was basically railing against because by the time you get to Kant in this, secularism is in full bore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he was suggesting was not a good thing. But I don't think it's that cut and dry. I would like to hear from the Brotherhood.
So what's the years for Kant? Because I'm sure everybody's
Kant's around check me on this, guys, but that's around 1815. I want to say it's early 1800s.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely what you would consider the end of.
That's right. It's
Age of
and
Enlightenment.
that's also around the time of Napoleon. As they, the
launching of the Industrial Revolution.
That's also part of that.
Yes,
too.
very quickly.
All these things are happening around that time, but Kant has taken it and made it to you can figure out anything, but you have to be skeptical about everything.
Mm-hmm.
The categorical imperative, which I'm not going to lay out.
Trust but verify.
Well, that's what that that comes from there. That's certainly a philosophical expounding of this very thing is, and in many respects, human society grew up with Kant. I know that sounds like
grew up as in we matured because of him, or just we grew up with him just as part of our cultural milieu.
Word boner.
Both. Oh, the true Catholic answer, of course, is both.
Yeah,
you can never put the genie back in the bottle anymore. At least this side of a societal collapse. As long as we continue to move forward.
Francis, let me take from here, and you take a sip, because I want to make sure you've had a taste of this bourbon.
Yes.
Before we get to bourbon break, and
but
plus it'll give him something to do while you talk.
Yes, I want to make sure he's got a break here because he's talked almost nonstop. So. For us in a modern age, especially in what is this kind of crazy semi-secular but also very religious society that we live in, we take this as kind of the default position.
That's exactly it.
This whole separation.
It's my entire point.
So
yes.
it's very hard for us to fathom the idea that you could live in a small town in Germany and basically whatever the priest said went. Or whatever, if you lived in a larger town, whatever the archbishop said basically went.
You're right.
Which led to all sorts of awful things in certain places.
What we've ended up with is, instead of the priest being able to whatever, now it's whatever a celebrity says or whatever a sports star says,
but that's,
or whatever news channel says.
But that's not enforced. That's
not.
Almost willing. I mean, we give our agency up.
They're indoctrinated into that.
Yeah.
Well, then therein lies. I think Marcus, you're exactly right. This entire concept of indoctrination, it's almost like we want that. A great number, and this goes back to, we've talked about this with regards to World War I. One of the reasons that the Weimar Republic failed so bad is the German people so demanded authoritarian rule. Mm-hmm. They could not adjust to self-rule because it was so baked in. It took another war for that to finally get pushed aside.
And it's important to note that this Age of Enlightenment was the beginning of individualism.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm glad you pointed into that, because that's tied up in all this.
So, yes. So, and we've talked about these points before, but I think this really, really, really applies here. So, that Age of Individualism, that is, we've talked about 6 human needs.
Right.
that is man's need for significance. Right? But on the other hand, when we get to what the Imperator pointed out, where and as you so eloquently put it, Martin, is that we have given up our agency. That is man's need for certainty, right? And the whole
what a conflict. What an inner conflict.
Yes,
we have.
and we start with that need to belong, which everybody has. We all have these, which is so hyper expressed in primitive societies where communication is limited, because your authority is your ultimate authority is right there. You see him every Sunday, or you see him in the town square, wherever. And when we get to this point in time, when communication starts to become more possible, because the spread of ideas through the printing press, that need for spontaneity and significance starts to take over.
Expression,
and that's part of it. Yeah. And then, of course, we've overcompensated to where now everything has got to be laid out and dogmatic.
Yeah,
yes,
that's right.
But it's ironic, the millennials and then the newest generation and what have you are going back to the churches in droves.
I think more the Z's than the millennials.
The largest, yes,
you're correct.
Yes.
There are many articles
growth
in recent days about that very thing.
Young men especially coming back to the church.
Yes, because young men have very little certainty.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Maximus mentioned something there a minute ago that I want him to repeat, because I think it was underneath the discussion. I want him to say
Maslow's hierarchy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Social needs are on the lower part of the base of the pyramid of Maslow's hierarchy, after biological needs and things like that. Social needs. We are social creatures. We're built that way.
Absolutely. And in a modern society where many of those basic biological needs are met, it may not perfectly, but they are generally met, then we have the ability to move on to those other needs, those social needs and things like that, which seems to, and I'm assuming that we're all in agreement here, risen to the top of societal discussion in recent years.
Can I comment on something he was saying earlier on?
Absolutely. Please.
You're talking about why young men are going back to the church. I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Part of it is you've had a society that has told men that they're worthless for decades.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. That's
correct. That they need to
worse than worthless, that they're predators.
Yes, that we're predators. That
as a default.
That we need to be more feminine and all this nonsense, right? And young men are rejecting that in droves and saying no. And I want to go back to the church because the church recognizes that is not a truth.
Well, it recognizes an authentic anthropology for humanity that is
word boner.
That is that's the deacon in me. That's just those of us ordained, we should know those things. We should talk about an authentic human anthropology that recognizes the divisions in biology and the differences in biology that are the complementarity that goes with them. Those are not to be
word boner
pushed aside and made irrelevant as some. I will not say many. There is an attempt, and I do believe, Maximus, you're exactly right. There is an orchestrated attempt to push away from that. I get some of that because nobody wants to be on the outside. There has to be a way.
Nobody wants to have their dreams suppressed.
That's correct.
And being told your role is only this.
That's right. And that goes back to the Age of Enlightenment that we're talking about, because individualism we're talking about.
Yeah.
Every individual, every human must matter, as Michael Connolly wrote, and as Harry Bosch has said many, many times.
Except for Kant.
Except for Kant, perhaps. But what's Harry Bosch have on
everybody matters and nobody matters.
Exactly right. Exactly. That is essentially, here we go once again, the dignity and sanctity of all human life.
Yes. As Brother Andre pointed to me, so I must say this: the inherent dignity, respect for the inherent dignity of all human persons.
It's the ultimate both and.
It is.
Right. That's right.
The ultimate both and. Yes.
An authentic anthropology does not exclude anybody.
Yeah.
We're all individuals.
Thank you.
Not.
Together.
That's right.
Everybody has a role, but your role doesn't have to completely define you. But the roles are meant to be complementary.
That's right. It must
the roles are meant to be complementary.
Because if you define your individualism as your
the role, right?
Your identity,
the role of a woman is
as what matters to you, then you're ultimately going to be disappointed because we live in a society.
Any single aspect of who and what you are, what you do, when you latch onto that one thing and let that define your personhood,
It becomes
Error.
group identity
It's a problem.
Yeah,
It
it is
is-
beyond problematic.
Yeah, it is reductionism, and it is minimalization, and it ignores
my
and
nose
It
denies.
ignores the inherent complexity of the human spirit.
That's
and
exactly.
condition.
Thank you. That's exactly what I'm
Word
looking for.
boner, he
Maybe
makes
a
it.
word boner on
To
that.
swing
Maximus
this
is
back around
killing
before
it.
we go into the bourbon break.
Killing
That
it.
goes right back to what Descartes said. I think, therefore I am,
Mhm.
because that lays in that one little sentence the inherent dignity and sanctity of human life. Because if you have that ability as a human, and you do, that's all you need to worry. You are.
And that's where this age of enlightenment's driving us toward
Well,
is,
see,
are
I'm
these
the outlier here.
realizations.
I
Please.
don't believe that everybody has the need to be part of society, nor the desire, nor the want to.
Well, ultimately,
You have individuals that have no desire to at all.
that have deliberately excluded themselves and
Yes.
gone off to. But they're
Even the mountain men would come into town to trade. So it doesn't mean you have to be a daily part of society, but
Well, it's right.
you
It doesn't.
are a
It
part
doesn't
of
have to.
society.
Well, exactly. That's kind of where I'm going. I mean, John
Some human connection.
But
John Donne was very, very clear. No man is an island, and that's
Yeah.
you can tend toward that. You can lean toward that. You can like that, and you can not like other people because let's face it, how many of us here always like other people? I don't think any.
No hands go up.
No
The
hands
more
go
people
up.
I meet, the
Well,
better I like dogs.
Except for Brother Andre. He's the nicest, kindest human I think I
Well,
know.
I still have
would
no
agree with
idea
that.
how he ended up in this group. Not that
I mean,
we-
talk
Very
about
brave
square
man.
peg and a round hole.
yeah, it's not that we can't be
Jesus
nice
hung
and
out with
kind,
sinners.
but like that's his default.
I know.
Well,
I know.
he is truly the marble man. You know,
You are a saint among snakes and otters. Let me tell you.
exactly right. We all want to be
Martin,
like you.
are you implying that he's pegging us? Or we pegged him?
No.
No,
No,
hold
no.
that thought.
Hold that thought.
Hold
and
on.
Let us.
I'm out.
That agonizer.
Thank you for that one. All right, let's take a sip, gentlemen, and let's hit that.
Yes,
up.
we are at 32 minutes.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
let's roll this beautiful bean footage of.
Bourbon break.
Oh
Okay.
yes, I don't know about you, but you're right, Martin.
So
I do need a drink.
Yeah, so I poured stuff for everybody. I'm not sure if everybody remembers what they got poured, but
I wasn't told.
yeah, Andre
You're sneaky.
Andre and Cajun have E.H. Taylor, freshly opened.
That's Her Majesty's favorite these days.
Roberta's has Faithfully Crafted.
The heresy
excellent.
bourbon.
That's right.
Yes,
There you
heresy
go.
burbon. Blasphemy bourbon is what.
Blasphemy. I'm sorry.
Blasphemy
Sorry.
bourbon. Yeah.
And then I poured
Water down.
Francis, he requested I.W. Harper,
That's correct.
15-year-old,
Which I'm assuming.
$100 shit.
Yeah, the way you indicated that. I've tasted it before because we have featured it because this is your second bottle. But you
Yeah,
just-
this
you
is the
just-
second bottle. So you,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna
We've
say you
had it
gotta
on
be
the
about
show.
out of it by now.
Yeah,
he just cracked open the next one, and if I did try it, I mean, we'd have to go in the archives and check, but I don't remember that.
we had it on the show, but I'm not sure if you tried it and had
That's
something
what I'm.
else.
That's
that
kind of where I'm
episode.
going with this because
But I want to hear what your thoughts are on
this
IW
bad
Harper.
boy here is what was it? Is it 86 proof? I believe.
86 proof, 15 years old.
See, this is the stuff, boys. This is really it is
We poured some
smooth.
quality hooch
It
this
is
time.
buttery.
Mhm.
It goes the no burn.
Oh, look at you picking out
And
notes.
That's well, I ain't very good at it. You all know. Here, you want?
And it's in his alcohol content level.
Well, yeah, it's because it's
Below
low. Go
100.
ahead, take a drink. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm Maximus is sitting next to me, and he didn't try any, but he's trying some now.
Oh, you did try some.
You know, what do you, your
Smooth.
thoughts, sir? Smooth,
Smooth,
Smooth
buttery.
is very, very smooth and buttery.
JB Smooth.
I really do like. It's going to be that one and Baker's are the two that I'm kind of going after. Because but you, according to you,
Yeah.
you can't find this though, right
Right.
now.
That's usually that pops up around February or March,
Okay,
and Kroger's usually will have a couple of bottles or maybe a case,
okay.
and then gone.
Well, I am hereby letting everyone know right now. Remind me and be on the lookout. And if this one comes up, I want a bottle.
I thought he was going to say it makes an excellent birthday present.
That's in September, which, as you know, doesn't work. Now, if you wanted to give it as a birthday present for my son, his birthday's in February.
You'll be glad to hold on to
I'll
it.
be
for
glad to. I'll be glad to share it with him. Let's
Yeah,
just say
I
that.
mean, just
I'll be
guy
glad
you
to
are.
take custody of
You're a
that.
great dad.
check your Kroger liquor store in February when you go grocery shopping.
Okay.
Because I know you probably go. I mean, you do the cooking, so I'm sure you do the shopping as well. Right?
I do my best, yeah, and I usually go to the Mount Washington, which is where you go, and that's where you see that.
Yes.
Although maybe by February, the new one on Beulah Church might be open.
Yes. Now that bottle came from, I think, the Taylorsville Road Kroger liquor store.
I don't go that way much, but that's okay.
Yeah,
not far.
That was an unusual
You go there
thing.
for that bottle.
I'll go there for that bottle. Dang straight, yeah.
Yeah, and then I poured one of our favorites, Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond.
Oh yes, absolutely. That's
that's
one of our favorites. Absolutely, I love that one.
Kroger's had that on sale yesterday for $42.99, I think.
Oh, that's a good price.
Yeah, I almost picked up a bottle, but I still have a little bit left.
Don't you have one? I thought you did.
Well, it's getting low, and that's one I want to keep around.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was
That's to
freshly
me.
opened.
I think that might be the standard. If you want somebody to come over to give them a good bourbon that's not expensive.
Depends on how much bourbon experience they've had.
Okay, I'll buy that. Yeah.
Because I think what we call our comfort bourbons I think are better to start people. Like the guy I work with, the one I call the kid, he's like 32 or something like that now. It's not, but to me, he's still a kid.
It's age of my oldest daughter.
You've got underwear older than that.
Right. So he asked me for recommendation, and I gave him a handful of some of the old favorites, and he picked up 1792. And he has thanked me several times.
It's a good one. It's a very good.
It's a good starter bourbon.
Most of us have.
It's a good daily. It's a good daily drinker.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you all know, I'm a big fan of Basil Hayden, but
yes, I suggested that one to him as well.
That's a very good one to suggest. There's several of them.
Elijah Craig is my daily drinker.
See, that's a very good one. That's one that Evan Williams.
Evan Williams, 1783
is the one. That's right.
I
have a bottle and a half because he's threatened me. You must have that when he comes over.
That's when you could get Booker's.
Yeah, most of us have. I think most of us have Bookers these days. Am I right?
Bookers is starting to be a little more available.
Right,
and in fact, was at a really good price at the Mount Washington Kroger recently.
Yes,
what did I tell you guys? Was it $82?
Yeah, $82.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
I forgot to look at
because I think it was 90. I paid 90 and it was on sale.
90 plus.
Yeah. This episode brought to you by Kroger Liquors.
Yeah, for real.
Absolutely.
Right. So
anytime you want to write us a check, you're welcome.
Real quick,
to guys.
Tasting notes on the E.H. Taylor, you guys.
This is the small batch.
Yeah, 100 proof, bottled in bond.
Oh, it's
E.H.
the
Taylor.
bottled in bond. Okay.
This is like returning to an old friend you haven't seen in a while. I tasted it blind, not knowing what you had poured, and at first it had a peppery bite to it. After it sort of diluted when the ice melted, we were sitting here mentioning, and Cajun said it had a buttery, and I'm like, oh yeah, I could taste the butter notes. And they go Scotch. I'm like, oh, you lost me on the Scotch part. But
that's right.
But it was a wonderful aftertaste. It was a few minutes after I had tasted it that I felt just sitting on the
That's
tongue.
the beauty of good bourbon.
Well, like Werther's butterscotch candy is what I was referring to.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's Her Majesty's favorite.
But that's very rich and smooth, especially for 100. I mean, it doesn't start off with a heavy bite at all.
Yeah, that's E.H. Taylor's serious fingerprint is that good butterscotch.
And you said this is the bottle and bond, right?
Yeah.
Because is this the one that's normally available?
I believe so.
No, it's the small batch that's normally available.
Because there are multiple varieties of the E.H. Taylor, and the one that they have at the distillery
is the small
batch. I have two of them, and you're right, it's a small batch. So bottle and bond is harder to find.
It is.
And there are two other varieties that are also.
There's a rye variety, and
I think they've got a barrel proof.
Okay, I was curious what those four were.
Wow,
because
barrel proof would.
I don't know if they call it cask strength, barrel proof, full proof. It's all the same thing.
That would put hair on your nipples for sure.
You're absolutely right. And
I don't need any more there.
Well, says he of the two guys that have this enormous facial hair here going on. I mean, both these guys have got this rolling on. I personally, as you have heard me say many times, prefer it silky smooth. But that's
Japanese proverb. Bird make no nest in bare tree.
Thank you, Mr. Bond, from You Only Live Twice, still one of the very best. But
Robert, tasting notes on the Faithfully Crafted, which we have had on the show before.
We have.
None of these are new. We've had all of these on the show before.
This is a log still distillery expression. Log still being the one that backs up to Cajun's farm. Cajun may have put grown corn that is in my glass right now.
That's right. It's a fine version.
Yeah, and log still. I mean, I love the fact that because you sell corn to them that it is you got a stake in it, so to speak, in their success. So I would like them for that. But they are a They're great distillers.
They know their
really
business, don't they? They sure do.
Yeah. This one is like just about every one I've had out of the log stills. It's very smooth. The first drink was maybe a little warm in the mouth, but still very smooth. There's no harshness to this at all. You get a lot of the standard subtle hints of caramel.
Good.
It's a little watered down right now. I should have. I started drinking. That's part of the problem. We need to start doing bourbon break a little bit sooner, so that it's not as watered down by the time we get here.
One might say bloom.
You can pour it. You can pour it during the episode.
Well, that's true.
That's true, but I can't get it.
And speaking of log still, the latest release is the 47.
Yes, I want to get a bottle of that.
It does not refer to our 47th president, even though he was gifted a bottle upon election. It actually refers to the distillery number.
Yes,
that they have.
Yes, that's a little known thing.
It just happened to be coincidence this year.
Kentucky always issued numbers to the distilleries.
Yes, and they are DSP 47.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't have any of that, but I do want some. It's widely available, is it not?
Pretty much, as far as I know. I haven't went up to get a bottle myself.
It is not hard, of course, to go to the distillery in our case and pick it up there.
Just around the corner.
That's where we all picked up our bottles of Faithfully Crafted and and a few other little bling items. I think.
Yes,
that we had.
And the Faithfully Crafted is what was it, like a $65 bottle, give or take? I think.
Yeah, along the line.
Right.
Yeah, and it drinks every bit of that kind of quality.
Yeah.
And it's not one you think, I wish I hadn't paid that much for it. No, this is worth every penny.
I was going to say, I don't think Wally and crew out there do anything poorly. They do
I don't think
very well.
Nothing halfway.
And this is not, to go ahead and to use Martin's term, this is not ancient age, which is just the side of drain cleaner. That line actually made it into one of my books because, and I don't think I gave Martin direct credit for that, but it was pretty close to that. Bourbon always
that
appears.
was my dad's daily drinker.
It was absolutely, and that's for whatever reason.
Men were men, and
is that one of those bourbons I bought? Probably.
No, I don't think
but
so.
we did try it when we were out at Cajuns the last time. We did a worst bourbon, and that was one of the ones because we were trying to figure out what all our dads drank and how, because it was the cheap. It's is this a cost cutter beer type thing?
Oh God.
It was awful
or worse.
But it was. It was better than no whiskey at all, as they said in the movie Fort Apache.
Not by much.
But not by much.
Yeah, there are some out there that it would be better to have none at all.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
Well, that's a good ending point for us to swing ourselves back. Martin, will you have some stuff
we
to
wanted
talk
to do our shout-outs, right?
Yes, we were supposed to do that at the beginning so then we could toast, but we
we drank them.
Bourbon brings its own way.
We're a bunch of drunks.
So, first off, I wanted to ask Robert and Francis about Jim Shooter.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, the great Jim Shooter, the man who brought the third level of the Marvel Revolution to life.
He's kind of Mr. Marvel after Stan Lee, sort of.
There
Roy
were
Thomas was between there, but
there were several editors in chief between Stan and Jim Shooter. They were all short-lived. Even Roy Thomas wasn't that long. And then you had
Archie Goodwin.
Archie Goodwin was one. Actually, no, I don't think Goodwin was during that.
He was just before Shooter.
Archie Goodwin?
Archie Goodwin, yeah, that was his name. Yeah.
Marv Wolfman was.
Marv Wolfman was there.
Was one of them. I think Len Wein was editor in chief for a little while.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Every one of those guys, after they left as editor in chief, except Shooter, went over to DC and did a ton of work.
That's correct. They're all really in the comic book industry. Those names should be very familiar to just about anybody.
But Shooter he's the one that was editor in chief or took over soon after when I started reading.
Yeah,
and so I associate a lot of fondness for his run. The end of what they call the Bronze Age.
That's Shooter
of comics, and he was there through the mid '80s. He's responsible for a mini-series, a limited series.
Yeah, so much of what was evolved into the modern comic book era. He was there during the switchover from newsstands into the comic book, devoted comic shops, which is where we've come today. That was all on the concept of direct sales. He was there when that started. That was in the early 80s.
Gave it to Archie Goodwin to launch Epic Comics,
right?
Which was the
you have a great fondness for.
Yes,
they were short lived. Yeah,
the first actually went on for quite some time.
Right.
it was the first mainstream creator-owned properties. Right. There's always been independent comic companies here and there. Up until the 80s, though, they never lasted. They could never make much of a dent. But then we had comic shops, and that's when they were able to be a good thing. Jim Shooter saw that, hey, maybe letting guys keep their property is a good thing.
Yes.
Now, they didn't do a whole lot of it, and they obviously didn't do it in the mainstream Marvel universe, but Epic Comics was all creator-owned.
And Shooter started at an early age, didn't he?
He did. He started at the age of 13 or 14, writing for the Legion of Superheroes.
Legion of Superheroes, that's right. A 14-year-old.
Under Julius Schwartz.
Right, back in the DC, that late Silver, early Bronze Age stuff. And he was good at it. He was very good.
Oh, it was solid Silver. It was in the mid-60s.
Oh, that's right. Because he cut his teeth from the very beginnings all the way through. And he's the one that actually got put on trial. That had to testify in some lawsuits, and there was a big hue and cry. It was a creator issue, sort of stuff like that, because he was Marvel during that time. Just as Stan Lee was in the '60s. Now Stan is still involved. Stan is still the quote unquote publisher.
Yeah, but he by that time he was in Hollywood, and he was really just publisher in name only.
That's correct. He was the one that he was Mr. Marvel, and he was trying to expand the brand. Give him credit. It took him a little while, but eventually. Look what happened. You have the MCU. It was it only came when it was time, which kind of gets us back to what we're talking about here. Things.
All of that comes way later.
That's right.
But yeah, one cannot underestimate the impact he had on Marvel. And even after he left Marvel, he was he started Valiant, which is still a going concern. Mm-hmm. They're not super hugely popular, but they are still publishing.
That's right. And he loved comics, just like we love comics. And he deserves definitely.
And I tell you what, he gets a bad rap from a lot of creators and even fans. And yeah, he had some arbitrary crap that he was known for. Byrne really speaks. He has some negative things to say about him, John Byrne.
Yeah, because he was in some of the height of his creativity under Shooter's reign.
And, there could be some pettiness, and I get that. But I met the man.
When is a creative person not petty? In
exactly.
Some fashion,
when it's somebody else's work.
Well, I mean, Harlan Ellison is probably the quintessential one of that.
Howard Chaykin too.
Absolutely, that's correct.
I met Jim Shooter. Talked to him for about a half an hour.
Oh, you did meet Shooter. I didn't think you did. Yeah,
I met him at a convention here in town. I would have loved to have
sat at the feet of Socrates and just soaked up all the great stuff.
He was one of the most gracious men, creators that would ever talk to. He talked for half an hour. And I only moved on because somebody else came up, and it's hardly anybody at his table at the time when I found him. So,
that's one I wished I'd have had a chance to talk. I would have talked to him, Robert. I know you.
He told stories, and he asked me questions, and it was a true conversation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, your business. You were there during his era, and you've kept up with enough of that too. There. I mean, I know you still give me grief for being too scared to talk to Neil Adams.
I will never let you live that down.
But I think I would have talked to Shooter because I had a few questions for him. I'm gonna think because I was a huge Fantastic Four guy, and hey, we're as we record this, we're just about 3 weeks out from the movie, and so much of the good stuff that was done was under his reign.
Well, I tell you, if nothing else, Byrne should be happy because he's the one who gave Byrne the Fantastic Four.
Absolutely, that's correct. He's
now
which ushered in the second golden age. After Kirby.
I will grant you, he's also the one that mandated that Jean Grey must die. Because the first time,
and that's but then again, he also allowed her to come back because Byrne did that. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we're getting in the weeds, folks. I mean, we can do this all. Yeah, as Steve Rogers would say, we can do this all day. Yes. But let's go on, Martin.
Please. The problem with Jean Grey, of course, was they made her too powerful, and then they had nothing that they could do.
Shooter was probably right.
Something had to be
they couldn't let that stand.
She destroyed a planet full of billions of asparagus people.
That's right,
so he said, she can't get. She's got to die.
Yeah, she got to. Because Claremont had no plans for that, and he realized, you crossed a line here.
What was that?
It had to have been a piss poor planet. It smelled like it.
Well, it's funny though. The asparagus people, they were actually in Avengers #4. They were the alien that is in that when Captain America.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Can we hold that thought on?
Yes. We will keep going on. Martin, please. I'm trying to bring you back, but I'm kind of in the middle of this myself.
So 2 quick shout-outs to some actors who have recently passed. Michael Madsen and Julian McMahon.
Yep. That's correct.
That's like yesterday.
I know.
As we record this, you're exactly
prior
right.
to that, though, we had several that passed that we lamented in our signal chat, but honestly, I can't remember who they were off the top of my head. I'm real bad about it.
Michael Madsen, because I'm a Quentin Tarantino fan, he was a frequent collaborator with Tarantino, and I really liked him in Donnie Brasco as well. He played Sonny Black.
Yeah, he played Virgil Earp in Kevin Costner's Wide Earp, which I think he was a fantastic
and then
role there.
Julian McMahon, famous as a Dr. Doom.
He was Victor Von Doom for the first real time on screen. I mean, those 2 Tim Story movies. And he did a passable job. I mean, I think it was written poorly. It wasn't near as bad as that steaming hunk of Plakta in 2015.
We don't talk about that.
We just skip a bit, brother. But yes.
And then happy birthday to Robertus.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yesterday,
Thank you,
as we record this, that's exactly right.
Yes.
And
Cajun gifted me a very nice bottle of bourbon. Thank you very much.
It's always a good bourbon birthday gift.
Yes, it is.
So, and then one last shout out for me today, as we record, in Birmingham, England, is the final on-stage appearance of Ozzy Osbourne. Black Sabbath.
I'd sign on for that. Absolutely,
so,
yes. That's right.
There's a day-long concert, including Hailstorm.
Oh, Lizzie Hale. We love
Lizzie Hale that we got to meet at Bourbon Fest. So they are appearing, and they're part of the bill. But
Judas Priest backed out the last minute.
Yeah, I think they've got a conflict, so they weren't able to attend. But today is in Birmingham, England, where it all started.
Yep.
Black Sabbath is retiring and saying salute. So if you ever banged your head and ever turn the radio up to Metallica or
I was going to say
anybody like
Martin
that,
is our guy on all that.
Which probably means they're going to be on tour next year.
Well, Ozzy does have some pretty substantial health problems.
I know
he does. Yeah.
The fact that he's even performing at all is still kind of amazing.
So
was it a stroke? I think it was, but it was.
I believe a lot of things are catching up to him.
Sustained drug use.
Obviously, all 4 members of Black Sabbath are likely to be addicts of something.
Yeah.
Tony Iommi had his. Bill Ward had issues. Geezer Butler's had issues. So
they really should have just gotten a hold of Keith Moon and said, "What are you taking?" They'd all be fine.
Keith Richards.
Sorry, Richard. Sorry, I said Moon.
Black tar heroin.
Moon died of it, so that's not a good role model.
Sorry, I meant Richards. Yes,
I meant Richards. That's right.
Moon had the final solution.
Yes.
Prior to Jesus' resurrection, he checked with Keith Richards on how to do it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes.
Very good. Very good. I love that.
Yeah.
Yes, so, I think he played he was the member of the band that played at the wedding at Cana.
Probably.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So that one means a lot to me. That today is the send off for Ozzy.
Well, I was a big Ozzy fan, very much so, especially during the days of Randy Rhoads. My Lord, still one of the greatest guitar players that ever.
I was lucky enough to see him 3 times live.
Were you with me when we saw him at Cardinal Stadium? You were, weren't you?
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
That was one of them.
That's one. I remember that one very, very well.
Cardinal Stadium, May 1984.
That's right. Bark of the Moon tour, I think it was.
Yes, that's Bark of the Moon. That was Jake E. Lee was performing with him then.
Yeah, and Motley Crue was there.
Motley Crue opened,
and somebody else. There was a third one, and I don't remember.
German band that was just atrociously awful.
That's
utterly.
Right.
I don't even remember that.
I don't. They were the opener for the opening.
Yeah. I just remember Motley and Ozzy. So.
Yeah, Ozzy did it. Ozzy did a good job.
No,
it's nobody that I don't think you've ever heard of because I cannot recall
and it's nobody that ever went anywhere.
No,
which is a shame.
Also, one final you forgot. Happy 35th anniversary for Francis and Mrs. Francis.
Well, thank you all very, very much. That's right.
That was just a few days ago.
A few days ago, absolutely. Many of you all were there. That's correct.
Well, everybody was there except Derek, except Brother Andre.
That's correct. Everybody else was there. That's right. Yeah. In fact, the Imperator's wife was hugely pregnant. We have that on video.
Miserably pregnant.
She had to sit off to the side. I'm sure you paid for that one because she was just in an awful state. And,
don't remember.
Yeah, I know you don't. So it's all water under the bridge.
I don't think that little church when it was the little church St. Gabriel's had air conditioning because it was burning up in there.
It did, but it was June 30th. It was hot. It was just kind of the way it was.
All I know is that all evidence of the bachelor party was taped over by the wedding.
You're damn straight it is, baby. Let us skip a bit, brother.
I'm not even sure he had a bachelor party.
You were there. Yes, I did.
I'm sure all we did was drink tea and have some cake or something.
Little cucumber sandwiches.
Cucumber sandwiches. Yes.
Benedictine. Yes.
Benedictine.
I was there. It never happened.
Yeah, that's right. You were there. Absolutely.
All
right. Let's roll.
I don't remember it myself. That's a entirely different reason.
Let us roll ourselves back. Roll ourselves back here.
Daisy chain, though.
The Enlightenment. Agonize him, please. Very awfully, sir. That's right. All right.
Oh, that tickles. Do it again.
Age of Enlightenment. We're trying to enlighten the world here, folks. We have, and I'm going to kind of swirl us back into some final thoughts.
Swirlies?
No.
The Emperor, very enlightening. Thank you very much.
All right, let's talk about that.
It's always difficult to come out of bourbon break, isn't it?
It is very much so. And I do want to kind of
probably because
talk
you've been
a little
drinking.
It says the one who never touches his lips for various reasons. So I do want to kind of give some final thoughts to everybody about, is this a good thing? I'm as complicated as Trevor Slattery would say so often. So much was necessary for us to evolve, many respects societally evolve as a species. We have come a long way, baby. It is a much better place today than we were in 1637. I think we would all agree on that. But let us filter out the technological changes.
Other than the burning of witches?
If you can, that's right. That was not long after that, actually. Martin is holding his hand up like, please, teacher, call me.
Yeah, which I'm shocked because we never hold up our hands.
Yes. Martin, you have the floor.
So the intellectual tendency of this movement to focus on the individual is what has, in certain parts of the world, gotten us to a point of the 7 of us can sit in a basement with headphones on and talk like ninnies, and there'll be no one at our door banging on it and saying, come out here.
Yet
there are still portions of the world where the individual has to be subsumed to some other entity.
Yes, and, real quick, I just want to clarify something. We talked about it as the priest. Really, the state is the better term for that.
Well, at that time, the church and the state were the same thing.
We're often, so not always.
That was just.
But they were this.
But now we've pulled that apart. That's a good thing. And the second piece of that is, again, this idea that the individual matters. The individual has worth. I mean, I cannot stress enough, there are huge parts of the world where right now people hold their babies up and say, I want my baby to be a martyr and destroy other people. That concept is alien to us because we're the intellectual inheritors of the Age of Reason.
So are we to go so far as to say such practices, we would consider them to be barbaric?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the obvious.
Beyond the obvious baby martyrs.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I would like to bring up one thing. You said you brought up the point of separation of church and state. I think it's very critical that we understand that the separation of church and state is a mandate against government to mandate religion, but it is not a mandate that religion and government cannot coexist.
Oh, absolutely. That is correct. And that is a common misunderstanding today.
That weirdness that is America is, we've always tried to, or we've always seen ourselves as a Christian society, but at the same time trying to keep that separate from
and tolerant of all other forms, even the dumb ones.
Well,
of course, everybody else.
That's been more recent, though.
It has.
It's as Catholics, we know the United States up until this late into this century, prior century, was very hostile.
Correct.
To Catholics.
Practically, not legally, but practically. That's right.
Well, in some cases,
if they could get away with it, yes, there are some places that would do that in regional ways.
And I say good because if the Catholics are a menace to general society, it means we are afflicting those that are comfortable.
Well, it wasn't that, though.
Well, I mean, as a general rule, when it comes to the Christian nationalism movement. You hear that a lot these days. That is not Catholic. We are in their gun sites. It's radical Protestantism as a general rule.
I like being in gun sites.
Well, I mean, we've been there for 2,000 years, and wherever you care to look, because we're not afraid to call out sin where we see it.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, that's correct. I mean,
we have failed spectacularly at times.
That's correct. But at least but like the old song from the 90s, I get knocked down, I get back up again. That sort of thing.
Oh, I hate that song.
Do you really?
That was the 2000s.
Yeah,
might have been. Yeah.
But,
Chumbawamba.
Right, because all institutions are human institutions, and humans suck.
Right. At least,
so
administratively so.
Yeah.
The age of enlightenment bringing out individualism, but all individuals suck.
Well, yeah, that is what the authoritarians from the previous epochs thought. We can't let them do that because they suck. We know they suck. They need to be controlled.
That's why it's important to limit the power of individuals over other.
Whereas,
who are you, and what have you done with Martin?
No, you didn't. You didn't hear all of that.
Yeah,
and that's the reason.
That's a very Martin.
Repeat it, because he didn't hear the last part.
That's why it's important to limit the power of individuals over other individuals.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I totally missed the end of that.
Limited.
Yeah. Honestly, I think obviously the age of reason is a good thing, because anything that gets people thinking is a good thing.
Usually, yeah.
No, thinking is a good thing.
And
always.
Even an education that drives you towards being a factory worker is an education.
Right.
It's better than where we were.
Yeah. Often there's not a whole lot of thinking in that, but thinking, engaging the mind, asking questions, answering them, that is always a good thing.
It's one of God's greatest gifts.
One of the problems, because again, Francis, to answer your question, it's a both and.
Yeah.
It is both good and bad. Because what we have done is we have exchanged the tyranny of the state for the tyranny of the individual. Or we have exchanged the tyranny of the state for the tyranny of the victim group.
Oh, yeah.
Which would lead to the implication is tyranny inevitable, like Thanos, for us as humans? Bring us, continue.
Power corrupts.
That's correct.
Absolute
that's
power
corrupts.
Absolutely.
Very much so. So is
Lord
Andre.
I just have a very strong belief that tyranny is rooted in evil.
Yes.
Evil will never defeat goodness.
Well, those of us in the church, we remember Christ's admonition, the gates of hell will not prevail against the church.
I've read that before.
Yeah, we've heard that a few times. Yeah. That's right.
Really? Wait. Hold on. That's a news item right there. A Catholic that's read the Bible?
Well,
we just can't give you chapter and verse.
Which one?
Well, no, that is one thing. Catholics are always accused of not knowing the Bible. We don't know where to find it in the Bible, but you start a story, we'll finish it for you.
That's right.
Okay, good.
Because the Bible is read to every Catholic every 3 years if they attend Mass.
Yeah. Huge portions. There are some stuff that's
read to, but not read by.
Well, that's because Scripture has always been meant to be proclaimed
and not consumed.
Well, I mean, let's also.
Well, you consume the proclaiming.
You're welcome to, but it's there's no substitute for the proclamation.
Back when the tradition started, people could not read, as we've discussed.
Yeah, and then that's changed.
But let's remember though, it's which Bible, because every Bible has different books, different verses. There are changes throughout. You're
speaking of a translation issue.
Yes, I am.
And there are some people that are willing to die on certain hills on that certain area.
I know.
How about the Bible that was produced at the Council of Trent?
With Dewey Reams, I have a copy at home.
The Bible that was produced at the Council of Trent is the Bible that had been the same scriptures for 1,500 years.
My point.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
but
we retranslate periodically. Well, you're
the
talking about the
different books
Apocrypha. Yeah, we're going down a rabbit hole here.
Yeah.
Yes, that's Martin Luther deciding he didn't like 7 books, so he's going to pull
there
them.
are books
and
that
portions
we've
of 2 others.
That's correct.
What was that?
There are books that we've pulled.
Well,
we have never pulled
We've
books
never pulled one
from the canon of Scripture.
There were many in the earliest days. I mean, you have to understand that the canon was set about the year 435 under St. Athanasius. That's about when we get the modern canon that we understand today.
There were local councils that defined it earlier than
and there were many that decided, well, let's try this, let's try that. And the council finally says, no, everything else is not, and this is. So there are many ancient writings that do have their own value.
Yes.
But they were judged to be wanting. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of why certain things are considered canon, why other things are not, why you cannot have something suddenly appear and then be included in the Bible because it was lost for 2,000 years, that automatically disqualifies it. The Holy Spirit would have allowed it to be in use if it was worthy. Okay? Not to say that they don't have value, etc.
And there we lost all of our Mormon listeners.
That's
so
right.
much for that.
So much for that. All right, I'm going to wrap this bad boy up. Any final thoughts before we go ahead and finish up?
Yeah, I've got one.
Thank you, Cajun. You've been too quiet, and that's not like you.
Well, the age of enlightenment and everything they learned, bringing about individualism, seems to have been lost more and more and more these days as society has taken on more of a herd mentality and people have forgotten who they are
I'm
as
so
a person
glad you brought
and their
that up.
individual self.
I wonder if technology has something to do with that.
Oh, it has a great deal.
Yeah,
That's right, yeah.
But I think technology can be the rescuer of that too, because all you got to do is listen to Snakes and Otters, and you'll be an individual.
That's right. You'll learn
Because
you'll the Amish.
you'll be disagreeing with one of us or another, and that will make you think.
That's
So
very
it
true.
boils
I have to
down
think
there's
about
a whole
why
lot of
you-
lessons to relearn these days.
Yeah, why would you have to think about why you would disagree with Brother
Well,
Andre?
I'm glad you mentioned that, Cajun, and we kind of end on this here. But you understand that the human, an individual human's memory understanding is about 3 generations: the parent and the grandparent. Maybe if you're lucky, you might know your great grandparents, but that's very rare,
Well,
very unlikely.
Our kids, probably, not always, but a good number of them will have known some of their great grandparents.
That's right, because
we live longer.
We're living longer as that's progressive, that moves on up. But ultimately, 3 or 4 generations is about the institutional memory for a human being. That's why, as we approach, we now pass the 100-year mark of, say, World War I. All the lessons
Always
that
gotta
were
bring
learned,
World War I into it.
damn straight. All those lessons. What's a Civil War? It's 150 years past that. That nobody is around during that time, and they have no influence on society because they're dead. So we're forgetting many of those lessons, and we know that it's like the age of enlightenment itself. I'll give myself the last word in all this. The historians teach us those lessons, and woe betide us if we don't listen, because we're going to, like Cajun, like you're saying, we're going to forget this stuff. We've already forgotten most of this stuff. We didn't realize these battles had been fought and won, and we're going backwards so often. And we should know better than that. We should be smarter than that as a society. And
history is very cyclic.
And that's the exact
History may
more
not
ways than one with that pronunciation.
History may not repeat, but it certainly rhymes.
That is exactly why, and it's a reflection of our human limitedness. We can only remember 4 generations. Beyond that, so many of us, unless we deliberately seek for it, we'll never find it. Okay, in that depressing note, let's go ahead and close this bad boy out and talk about our next episode on this. Episode 251 next time on that. It's going to be Code of Honor. And we're here at Martin's place. We're here in Studio M, down in his behind. Oh, gosh, I'm going to mess it up. Behind Ellis's office, down in Ellis.
30th floor of Nakatomi Plaza, down the hall from
Ellis's office. Okay, that's
behind the waterfall.
Behind the waterfall. Damn it.
Yeah. So we didn't understand half that because you were talking over each other at different.
We've only said it 16,000 times.
But there's always somebody new listening.
That's right.
Yes.
Every episode is a new episode for somebody.
Yes,
That's right.
and we haven't discussed the names or anything in ages. We need to do that sometime on an episode.
That sounds
That's
like
true.
a great
That's
idea.
true.
We can do that. We should have done it since it's 250, but we'll
I
do
think
it for
Max had a valedictory here. He wanted to
you want
bring us in, Maximus.
you want the last word? I'll give it to you.
That's okay.
All right.
All right, okay.
Happy to do that. All right.
So hold on. Martin has a line before you finish that out.
Okay. Go ahead.
Francis, what's next, buddy?
Okay, you're right. That's become a thing, isn't
Creatures of habit.
it?
Yes.
Episode 251 is next. We're going to go back to Code of Honor. Martin has already picked one since he's going to be the captain and he's the host, and he won't tell us what it is.
That's my man.
He's being very secretive, so we have no idea what it's going to be next episode, but all we do know is it's going to be good, so be here.
We hope you enjoyed another pointless discussion of eternal questions. Remember, new episodes drop every second and fourth Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern, just in time for your morning commute. And every fifth Friday, we drop a special Hoopajube episode. Spread the word we are on all the major platforms, and leave us a review. That helps others find us. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, as well as our website, snakesandotters.com. Join us next time. Same snake time, same otter channel.